I'm Dr. Bill Brattle. I'm a doctor in horology. So, what does this mean to you? It means that it's time for you to look, listen, and learn. Boldr is a small brand with a big presence due to its cozy relationship with watch reviewers. One watch reviewer did a review of a Boldr, which started with a nearly 3-minute advertisement for Boldr. The ad was extremely good quality. It featured a watch reviewer who had a huge ass hiking in dry, hilly terrain. I couldn't take my eye off the guy's huge ass. It was nearly the size of Kim Kardashian's ass. At the end of the ad, the watch reviewer finds a Boldr watch under some wood. Unsurprisingly, the reviewer went on to do a warm review of the Boldr after his advertisement for the watch. What a coincidence! Only in the bizarro world of YouTube watch reviewing can a watch reviewer advertise a watch he is reviewing and not worry about blemishing his integrity. I wanted to call the Boldr Odyssey bronze serpentine that I'll be reviewing today the oddity. But the oddity has too many syllables to keep repeating, so I'll just call it the Serpy. The Serpy is out of stock. Boldr lists its price at $649. Boldr produces watches in limited quantities. Boldr might have discontinued the Serpy for all we know. My Serpy was loaned to me by a friend of the channel. He was not the original owner. You'll notice that the picture of the stock Serpy on Boldr's website has a much lighter color than my Serpy. This is because my Serpy has oxidized, which is normal and expected for bronze. I like the Serpy's patina. The bronze feels very smooth and good to the touch. I like the modern, compact, angular design of the case. I'm deducting a point for the helium escape valve, which aesthetically is quite ugly and jarring. Had the helium escape valve also been bronze, I might have given it a pass. I'm willing to bet that 7 out of 10 consumers don't want helium escape valves, and the remaining 3 out of 10 who do only want it because they think the valve may allow them to breathe in some helium and speak in a high voice so that they could amuse women in hopes of having sex with them. The Serpy's lugs accommodate a 22mm strap. Here's the case back. The Serpy is an overbuilt 500-meter dive watch. The case is really big. The diameter is 46mm. The width, including the crown, is 50mm. The lug-to-lug or length is a staggering 52mm. The case is extremely thick at 16.5mm. The Serpy is extremely heavy too, at 174 grams, which is the weight of a fairly hefty, normal-sized dive watch with a bracelet. For such a beast of a watch, the Serpy wears extremely well. Here's the Serpy on my 7 2/3 inch wrist. If people are wondering why my wrist grew so much, I gained a huge amount of weight. I already surpassed Mariah Carey in ass size, and I'm closing in fast on Kim Kardashian's ass volume. My only complaint with how the Serpy wears on my wrist is that I'm getting a lot of crown bump. The inside portions of the lugs are too sharp. At this price point, I really expect a watch that's completely finished. I'm deducting 2 points for this. I give the case a B minus. The crown is big and grippy. It has good crown pop. The crown's action is super smooth. The logo has a lot of depth. I give the crown an A. The bezel is so stiff and difficult to turn that it's not worth using. The bezel surface on which to grip while turning is the same super smooth bronze as the rest of the case. I need to use a rubber jar gripping pad to rotate the bezel, and even with the gripping pad, it's a challenge to turn. I'm not going to give a demonstration of turning the bezel because I don't want this watch review devolving into a clown show with me clutching the bezel with a gripping pad, grunting and moaning in agony to turn it a full rotation. I don't get paid enough to do this. You're just going to have to trust me on this. There's probably going to be guys in the comments saying, My bezel is awesome and it's smooth as hell. Let me preemptively say, great, give yourselves a medal, now piss off. It could be that the bezel was turnable when it left the factory, but oxidation and or expansion of the bronze made the bezel nearly unturnable. The Lume bezel markings that appear for the first 15 minutes look cool, and I'll show you how they look when I show you the Lume, but why only give me markings for the first 15 minutes? Why not put them around the entire bezel? So if I were Lou Ferrigno in his prime and had the strength to turn the bezel, I could take full advantage of the bezel and time things for periods greater than 15 minutes. There's no lume on the bezel beyond the first 15-minute portion of the bezel. The bulbous lume pip looks nice, but I don't like it because it's just begging to get hacked off. The bezel insert is aluminum. I'm normally very critical of aluminum because it scratches and dents easily, but I get why Boldr used aluminum. They wanted a material with a matte finish to complement the shiny, coppery elements of the dial. The bezel insert is recessed slightly. This will afford the aluminum some protection. I give the bezel a very easy F. You can't sell someone a dive watch with a bezel that you can barely turn. The sapphire crystal is slightly domed and looks nice. The crystal uses anti-reflective coating. It has a bluish tint. The crystal picks up a small, manageable amount of glare outdoors. I give the crystal an A-. The Serpy has an NH35A movement. This is a perfectly good entry-level movement, but at the Serpy's price point, I think the consumer deserves something better. I like the shiny, coppery rehaut, but I despise the text on both the top and the bottom of the rehaut. I'm willing to gamble that 10 out of 10 consumers over the age of 9 also hate this loud, unnecessary text. I'm deducting 1 point for the stupid text at the top and an additional point for the stupid text at the bottom. If you don't agree with my scoring, add the points back yourself on your own review scorecard. I'm just the messenger. Up close, the textured dial background looks like plastic, but it looks nice, so I'm not complaining. The writing on the dial is embossed and looks really nice. I wish the date were a bit bigger, but it's readable. The 12 o'clock indexy is badly misaligned. I can see this at several feet away. At no price is this egregious misalignment acceptable. The indexes are passable, yet pretty tacky looking for a watch at this price point. The handset is also passable and also strikes me as a little tacky. The hands look thin and borderline plastic. While the reflectivity of the hands is good for readability in low light, I'd like to have seen a handset that looks less like it was bought en masse from the Alibaba website at a cost of $1 a piece. I give the dial a B-. The Lume is very good. I was getting at least 4 hours of readable Lume. Aesthetically, I like the strap and its buckle. The leather feels flexible. The underside of the band is moderately smooth. It was overly difficult for me to get the tang in the adjustment holes. I couldn't get a comfortable fit with the strap. It's either too tight or too loose. I give the strap a D. While the Serpy may feel substantial because it's so heavy, at the end of the day, it's a cheap, poorly constructed watch with some jazzy elements to make the consumer think he or she is getting something of value. I don't think the Serpy is a good value. I don't think it's even close to being a good value. I give the Serpy an easy F. Please like, please subscribe.